Hey, we all have busy lives these days and can't afford to waste a day stuck on the couch because of a few drinks the night before. Z-Biotics is the answer we've all been waiting for. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Just remember to drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol. Of course, drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Give Z-Biotics a try for yourself. Go to zbiotics.com/Adam to get 15% off your first order when you use Adam at checkout. Z-Biotics is back with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. And July 4th is right around the corner, so order a pack of Z-Biotics for you and your friends today to make sure you get it in time. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Adam. Use code ADAM at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode. What's up? Welcome in, Hoge Jahns, back with you this week. Delayed a day because the Bears were delayed a day. What's up, Johnsy?
By the league or by the NFLPA, to be exact?
Yeah, I don't know. How dare you players practice so hard? Your punishment is to get a day off. You can go play golf. Congratulations.
I'm glad. Like, can we roll our eyes at it? Like,
yeah, absolutely we can.
yes. I mean, we could get to it later, but yes, I collectively, I think we should all roll our eyes at the violation, because I don't, according to everything I've learned, read, seen, heard, it's football. It's with shorts on. It's still fast.
And the fact that Matt Eberflus was not fined and the Bears were not fined, is that sort of an admission that it's not like there was any malicious intent by the team to break any rules? That it was just a football practice that got a little out of hand, probably.
You tell me he didn't sneak like a 7 a.m. practice in, like high school teams will do nowadays, that they're working out now, not sneaking it in, but like a 7 a.m. practice with full pads on before the cameras turn on at Hallis Hall.
I don't think that's what was going on. Welcome in. We got a good show for you today. We were at Hallis Hall yesterday. Again, everything got pushed back a day, which is why we're recording on Thursday morning now. But we got a lot to talk about, including some actual football stuff from what we saw as Johns and I watched practice together inside the Walter Payton Center yesterday. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Johns. Read Johnsy on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, where you get to go with those, get those subscriptions. And you should also be subscribed to CHGO. Get those CHGO memberships at allchgo.com. And I have a new Bears Things column up right now with some of this stuff from yesterday at Hallis Hall. But yeah, let's start there, Johns, with this whole ordeal this week. I think like a couple things that stood out to me yesterday as we got to talk to the head coach, 4 players, 2 of which are NFLPA reps, which is kind of an indication that like the team's not really worried about hiding anything here, right? Is that fair?
Yes.
I mean, they're like, yeah, we'll send the reps out there, say exactly
what is there to hide. Football.
And then all 4 players were like, yeah, I mean, like there's some guys on the ground. It's tough because it's a new coaching staff. They want us practicing hard. If anything, I almost feel like one of the positives out of this, Johns, is it actually is a pretty good indication that they're buying into the HITS philosophy.
Yes. With the hustle, the intensity, the first 2 parts of the HITS philosophy, the principle, the guiding principle of Matt Eberflus, it's getting through to these guys, to the younger guys. They're buying in. You're seeing it. I have felt that every practice that we've watched, has been fast, it's been intense, and a little bit violent. Guys on their feet, but a little bit violent. That's what you want.
Even yesterday was still fast and intense.
Yes.
It's not like they backed off.
No. If anything, like I went into yesterday's practice trying to take special note of the speed of it, the intensity of it. And I felt it was there, especially when they went one-on-ones. You heard the defense get loud when plays were made or potential hits could be made. They were involved, like all together. I'm trying to, I guess, be delicate with my words here, but they were chippy. And you want that. You want that. So I took special note of that because I was going in there to see how intense, how fast they would be coming off the violation.
Yeah, and I thought that they were, especially on the defensive side, they were doing that yesterday. From everything, and let me know if you've heard anything else, but from everything I've been able to gather, it sounds like early on in OTs, and honestly, this may even go back to April in that mini camp, because I actually remember seeing guys on the ground at that mini camp. And every time that happens, it's not intentional unless you have like one player go rogue on one play and just like take it a little bit too far. But usually it's guys that just trip over each other. And then you hear every coach on the field go, stay up, stay up, stay up, because that's just the rules. You're not supposed to be taking guys to the ground. And then it's also, you don't want anybody to get hurt. And so it sounds like almost some bad luck that the NFLPA had a rep there that saw some of this. Now, it also sounds like they were probably warned at that point, and then some additional practice tape got reviewed beyond that. And maybe that tape showed some more guys on the ground, but like that's going to happen.
What I would tell this NFLPA rep, whoever was visiting the Bears, is go watch some teenagers or some kids, some 10-year-olds play some flag football. Having coached flag football in a very competitive league.
Wait a minute. I would just say go to the Jahns house.
Yes.
I have seen the Jahns house, and
boys going at it.
3 boys just taking guys to the ground constantly.
So I coached flag football this year. I've told you guys the story. We lost in the championship by 1. And during this playoff day, this marathon playoff day, it got physical. And some parents on our sideline were concerned. And I remember turning to them, hey, everybody, it's football. It's a natural part of the game. It's a collision sport. Even when you're not in pads, it moves fast. There will be some type of physicality in collisions. The same thing applies to the shorts that the Bears are wearing right now.
Well, especially because these are the fastest, strongest football players on the planet.
Just think about it. And they're practicing for the first time.
Well, maybe not on the Bears, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yes, but I think the point being made here is it's a naturally violent game. There will be collisions. Players will fall. Players will collide. Someone will go down, and they will get up.
Yeah.
Players will trip. Players will touch. Even without pads on, it's football.
So do you agree that there was a collective... I don't want to say that the coaching staff is blameless, because I definitely think that what they're asking them to do and the style of play they want them to practice. I mean, this has been well done. This is also why I wonder if the Bears were made an example of here, because you go back to the very first introductory press conference all the way through every media availability we've had till now. They're talking about how hard they practice. And I imagine if you're, one of the top dogs at the NFLPA, that's going to raise some flags. So maybe you take an extra trip out to Hallis, or you review a little extra film. Well, my point is, do you agree that most of the players seem to be in agreement that, it was just a matter of the players having to learn how to draw the line themselves?
Yeah. I am all on board for player safety. I am.
But what I'm getting at, Johns, is if it's the player's fault, I'm not even trying to blame the players.
But there's Eddie Jackson's going around headbutting people today.
But why is the punishment then that the players get a day off?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell a story right now.
Better be a
Okay?
good one.
It's okay. So the Blackhawks, it has to do with the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks' first Stanley Cup. Well, first of the 3 that they won in the last decade or whatever. So 2010, they win that first cup. Okay. I was a part-time producer at the Score, just grinding away, trying to pick up, every shift possible. And the day of the Blackhawks parade, you may remember, was a pretty incredible day of sports, especially in Chicago. So you had the Blackhawks parade. The Cubs were playing the White Sox at Wrigley. And the World Cup also was starting in South Africa. And the Score had an all-day broadcast starting at 5 a.m. with Mully and Hanley all the way till Lawrence Holmes' show ended at 10 p.m. in Wrigleyville. I don't even remember the name of the bar. I'm not even sure it's there anymore. But we were like steps away from Wrigley Field. And we were already a little shorthanded. It's parade day. There's a lot going on. And they had already asked me to work from like noon to 10 p.m.
Yes.
Like I had to do all the shows that were.
The Cup is on the move. Yes.
Anyway, where this is going is there was a producer for the Mully and Hanley show. He was like a part-timer, I think. I don't even remember his name, to be honest with you. It's not somebody that
poor
it's not
form. Poor
it's,
form.
Well, no, it's not. It's not like, it's not like a name that people would still recognize because he wasn't even there much longer.
But what if he's listening to the show? Let me apologize to this unnamed producer.
I'm also protecting him a little bit by not calling him out.
Okay. Oh, this is where it's going. This better be good now. Okay.
Yeah. So he did not show up for the show the morning after the Hawks won. As you remember, because you were covering it, right? Well, you would have been in Boston then.
I was in Boston for that. Yes.
Yeah. But that was an all-night affair. Back in Chicago, the team got back. They went to 1,700 different bars somehow in like 5 hours. And there was a cup tour, and many, many fans went out. Well, one of those fans was supposed to be producing Mully and Hanley in the morning and didn't show up for work. Okay? So where this is going is the punishment was a 2-day suspension or 2 or 3 day, I don't know. But the Friday where the parade was one of the days of the suspension, which of course did nothing but allow him to go to the parade.
Yeah.
While the rest of us had to. So then they asked me to come in at 5 a.m. So I ended up working from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.
You were the one who was actually punished.
Exactly. So meanwhile, he got to go to the parade.
I'm going to text you after the show for the name, by the way.
I'm honestly trying to remember it. I'm not making up. I think I remember the name. It wasn't somebody I knew well. And I don't want to say the wrong name if it wasn't him, if that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll figure it out. Anyway, where I'm going with that whole story is like, sometimes the punishments don't really fit the crime. Like, it's just, I don't know what you're supposed to.
It's like they punished Matt Eberflus for being a coach, for trying to coach.
Or like,
don't coach too hard, coach.
Players, you're practicing too hard. You're being punished by, hey, go play a round of golf at Royal Melbourne, Colt Komet.
Don't run that. Yeah. And hit 86. I take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he had a great day. Again, let me repeat. I am all for player safety. But also, what are we doing here? There's a line. I don't think the Bears crossed it. But according to NFLPA, maybe they did. It's fine, but I don't know. I thought of a couple things. I thought of the story Matt Manley, Pat Manley, the long snapper, once shared. I combined the names.
I don't know what I combined the names. Said.
The longest tenured Bears player in history once shared on 670 The Score about Mark Trestman's practices. How Mark Trestman used to say incessantly that they had good practices. And Pat Manley, the longest tenured Bear in history, thought they were crap. Remember that?
Yeah.
He shared that story in The Score. I thought about that. I wrote a book a couple years ago, The Men, the Moments that made the Bears, the Big 50. And in it, I had talked to Dan Hampton, I had talked to Tom Thayer, and I talked to Jay Hilgenberg, all players from the 85 Bears. And they told me, without even being asked, how hard their practices were back then. How the practices they had against each other were harder than the games they actually played. And how prepared they were for those games because of how hard they practiced against each other. I know it's a different era of the NFL, but I still think some of those values, some of those hit principles still apply when you're trying to change the culture of a team that didn't tackle well last year, amongst other things. Just trying to make a point here.
Well, you are, so like there's a couple things there. I think obviously we can still agree that it's a good thing that they don't practice that same way that they used to, because the league's better off if players are healthier, and not just so that they can play football games on Sunday and all our fantasy teams can be healthy and the games can be fair. So they
can have lives after.
But they could have lives after football, most importantly, right? But that being said, like to your point, there's still like a fine line of this is still the NFL. And running around in shorts and absolutely zero contact. Like Cole Kmet had a really good point yesterday when he was asked point blank, like, do you think OTAs are valuable with the way the rules have been scaled back? And his answer was a good one, because he's like, first of all, yes, I do think that they're valuable, but I don't know what we're getting out of the running game right now, like essentially, because the running game is contact. It's physical. The only way to run block effectively is to hit somebody. And the only way to bring down a running back is to tackle him. And to try to simulate that in shorts with zero contact is pretty much impossible. And that is a frustration that every team has to deal with. It's not just the Bears. But then he did say in the passing game, though, he thinks all these reps are valuable because you could still work on timing. You could still simulate a pass rush and go back and watch the tape and realize, hey, you probably would not have had this much time in a game, or you got this one off in time, you would have been fine. Regardless of what is actually happening with the pass blocking up front, you can still simulate that timing. You can simulate the routes. You can get some chemistry going between the quarterback and the receivers. But in the running game, it's basically a wash until they put the pads on in camp. And then even to that point, you still can't tackle. So
you still can't tackle in training camp.
Well, and this goes back to, I think I said this yesterday on the CHGO show. One of my frustrations from the Matt Nagy era was, it seemed like every year he would talk about how they were going to have live periods.
Callous the players.
Right. And then what it would be like 2 weeks into camp. And we're like, where are these live periods? When are they happening? And then it finally happened, and it'd be like 5 plays for, I'm probably exaggerating, maybe 10 reps for one period, and then you wouldn't see it again for another week. And you and I know we had these conversations out there. We'd be like, I don't know that. Where's this callousing actually happening? I don't see that.
It's a good thought. It's a good thought, because he went in building up these practices as fast and intense and physical. And I think Andy Reid had a reputation of having practices like that. But maybe we just wanted more. We didn't see enough. Wasn't enough. And I guess it was reflected on game days on Sundays.
Exactly. And so I think it's what I'm getting at is I think it's a good sign that the Bears already, whether it's intentional or not, whether it's the coaches or the players or whoever's to blame, like the fact that I think we can agree they're walking a fine line with what is technically acceptable and what's not. I'm willing to accept that as a good thing at this point.
You know who always walks a fine line? John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. Every year. And Bill Belichick and the Patriots, maybe for different reasons, but everybody's trying to, everybody's trying to be.
He's got the ring, so.
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, there is player safety is extremely important. I don't want to sound like some meathead. You know, completely ignoring the importance of player safety. I understand it. 100% understand it. But I think the players would agree that at its root, football requires some intrinsic level of toughness. And that toughness sometimes has to be instilled, taught, spread. I want to say Matt Eberflus is doing a pretty good job with that right now. With the young team, I don't know if they're going to be good, but you can see some levels of toughness being installed with this team.
Yeah.
I think we got to
I agree.
come out hard and stay hard.
All right. Enough about that.
Now, our next partner is a pretty cool product. Let's talk about Athletic Greens. If you're looking to get better gut health, more energy, or a stronger immune system in a really easy, natural way, you've got to check out Athletic Greens. I'm telling you, it's a great product. I'm sure you all agree that most of us are not huge fans of taking a bunch of pills or vitamins in the morning, but with the Athletic Greens, you get rid of all those extra vitamin bottles and finally make some room in your cabinet. Athletic Greens is an all-in-one solution that actually tastes good. It really does. You'll really enjoy getting your daily vitamins. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold seasons. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. I'm telling you, that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Adams. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Adams to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Hey, with Father's Day coming up, here's a little gift-giving wisdom from Omaha Steaks. We want steaks. That's right, and there isn't a better Father's Day gift right now than Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and type Adam in the search bar and order the Dads Want Steaks package. For just $99, this limited time package includes 16 mouth-watering entrees your dad is guaranteed to love, like smoky, tender, bacon-wrapped filet mignons, gourmet jumbo franks, and their air-chilled boneless chicken breasts. And for a sweet finish, the delicious caramel apple tartlets. I've had those. They're easy. You just pop those in the oven. Great dessert. I'm getting hungry just thinking about them right now. And with a special gift for our listeners, when you type Adam into the search bar and order the Dads Want Steaks package, you'll also get 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers. I cooked these up last week. They are very good. The burgers are full of bold, beefy flavor, made from 100% Omaha steaks, and now they're bigger than ever at a whopping 6 ounces. So don't wait. Send Dad more than just a gift. Send him an experience he'll love and can share with you. Go to omahasteaks.com, type Adam into the search bar, and order the Dads Want Steaks package. You'll get 16 entrees and 4 desserts plus 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers. Omaha Steaks, just not a steak. It's the best steak of your life, guaranteed. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword Adam.
As we get older, I think everybody's looking for better health and a better health routine, and I'm here to tell you about Elysium Health, the most trusted source for NAD+ supplementation. Their product basis is clinically proven to increase levels of NAD+ by 40% safely and sustainably. Elysium products target aging at its source. They're unlike any other health company I've ever seen, and they are at the forefront of NAD+ supplementation. They have dozens of the world's best scientists. 8 of them are Nobel Prize winners. NAD+ is found in every single cell of your body and is responsible for creating energy and regulating hundreds of cell functions. But NAD+ levels decline as you age. Lack of sleep, intense exercise, unbalanced diet, sun overexposure all deplete NAD+ levels. Here's what Basis does. It supports energy and metabolism on the cellular level, helps maintain healthy DNA, supports in recovery from workouts, reduces general tiredness and fatigue, gives you healthy skin, and general health and wellness feelings. So go to trybasis.com/Adam and enter code Adam at checkout to save 10% off Basis prepaid plans as well as other Elysium Health supplements. It's trybasis.com/Adam and use code Adam at checkout to save 10%. Thank you, Elysium Health, for sponsoring this episode.
What do we do about this? The other part about practice yesterday, which was the offense.
Yeah, I felt like Natty Eberflus made it a point to say that the offense was outstanding on Monday and the defense responded on Wednesday.
Yeah, I thought that was calculated.
Chunk plays by the offense. Chunk runs. Did he say one chunk run too?
I think so.
Chunks.
There were not many chunks yesterday.
No.
There were chucks that were unwarranted.
Yes. Justin Fields did not have a good day. But if he had a good day on Monday, it's all part of the process here.
And by the way, I believe that.
No reason to lie about it.
Well, I mean, the thing that just sucks is we just have to take his word for it because we didn't get to watch practice Monday. But one of the things I've talked about before on the show, and until it's proven wrong, I will continue to say, like, you rarely see Justin Fields have back-to-back bad days. The bad days are going to happen. They always do, no matter who you are. You know, even the Hall of Famers will have some rough practices. And the other caveat is we don't necessarily, and this, I wish I had asked this question yesterday. It's been bothering me that I didn't. I don't know what type of explanation Eberflus would actually given us because it's probably a better question for Luke Getsy. But I don't necessarily know what their practice rules are right now. Like, if things break down, do they still want Justin to throw the ball up to complete the rep? Or do they want him throwing the ball away or into the ground? Do you remember, I brought this up yesterday, I think, but do you remember there was like a 10-10-10 practice in Bourbonnais? That's what Nagy used to call those, like, kind of walkthrough whatevers.
The fast walkthroughs, yes.
Maybe it was even last year. I forget. These days and years all start running together. We're getting old.
We've covered this team a long time.
Yeah. Well, it couldn't have been last year because it was definitely Mitch as the quarterback, I'm pretty sure. But he had a bad day. He's getting picked off. And Nagy came right to the podium and was like, we had a scripted practice. He threw what he was supposed to throw no matter what. And those were the results. Maybe it was last year with Andy Dalton.
Like, bringing that up, like, maybe that was part of the problem.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm getting it. But I don't know if Justin's still supposed, because some of those throws yesterday, you were there standing next to me. They were ill-advised.
Yes.
Like the one in the end zone where he just like kind of lobbed it up was like, that's either a horrendous decision or they're asking him to just complete the play and throw it up so that like the rest of the team can still get the rep.
Yeah. And
maybe work on some jump balls. And those are things I honestly don't know that right now.
I did have this thought as the offense struggled at times and players weren't open. Like, oh man, like when Darnell Mooney and even Velus Jones Jr., when they're not in the field, they don't have much at all. I was trying to keep that in mind because you would see different players rotated in with Fields. And when it wasn't Darnell Mooney, who got open, or Velus Jones Jr., who created separation, you're like, oh no.
Yeah,
they don't have things here. They don't have, like, this is a problem. I know Justin Fields has been complimentary of his receivers, but on this given day, on this Wednesday, in this 2 hours that we got to watch, the defense looks significantly better in the secondary than the Bears receiving core.
And it was DeAndre Houston Carson picking off the football.
That was a bad throw, though. Yeah. That was
Eddie Jackson wasn't. You're talking about the one that got tipped?
No, I was talking about where. I'm trying to remember the route, but DeAndre Houston Carson read it perfectly. Came over, undercut, over. Trying to remember the throw, but it was a bad throw from Fields.
Yeah, the ball was nowhere near there.
Down the left sideline. It looked like there was almost two receivers in the same place, and neither of them were Darnell Mooney or Velus Jones Jr. That was I'm trying to remember my notes, but it wasn't a good play altogether.
But I guess my point is Eddie Jackson wasn't practicing yesterday. Kyler Gordon wasn't out there. I would say this. What you just said about the wide receivers, I could say the same thing about the secondary that was out there.
True.
Yesterday. And that's what's almost more concerning because yet the defense, Again, no Robert Quinn, no Al-Quadi Muhammad, bunch of backups in the secondary, dominating the offense that much. I don't know.
I think one of the best passes that I saw was from Nathan Peterman yesterday.
Oh, boy. You actually saw him throw a pass?
Yes.
I didn't know they let him do that.
Yes. It went for like 25 yards
Nice.
on the right sideline. Hell of a strike by the third stringer.
Oh, quarterback controversy.
No.
Okay.
No.
I feel like they don't even let the other ones ever throw. Like, Justin, you get every rep. They listened to you from last year. They were like,
give these guys one rep.
no, you were upset because Fields never got to work with the ones. Now Fields
Correct.
gets to work with the 1s, 2s, and 3s and 4s that don't
Actually, he
even exist.
does. Yes. That's another note worth taking is he's playing with every single receiver and every single tight end and running back. What a waste of time training camp was, guys. Speaking of training camp, how would you feel when I know there's still mini camp, but since training camp was brought up yesterday by Matt Eberflus, say training camp opens late July, and your starting 2 tackles are Braxton Jones on the left side and Larry Borom on the right side. What would you say? How would you feel about Tevin Jenkins?
I would feel not good about Tevin Jenkins. I think Bears fans better be hoping that you're taking them at their word that they're rotating guys right now. Now, one of my theories trying to piece this together, Johns, is now I know that they've kind of hinted that maybe Tevin can still play on the left side, but what if they've just decided that he is playing right tackle? And they're not so sure about Borom. They want him working both sides. Well, what do you do with Tevin then? You got to either have Borom work with the 2s or Tevin has to go down to the 2s. And then who plays left tackle? And I'm sure Braxton Jones has done something to earn that opportunity.
Yes.
But I just kind of have this hunch that they've just decided, Tevin Jenkins, you're playing on the right side.
I spoke glowingly about Tevin Jenkins in the previous podcast with the Fishman, Kevin Fishbane. Seeing him with the second team at this point felt alarming to me. I don't want to get too carried away. It is just June. It's June 9th as we talk right now. But I just don't think they would do that if they were happy with what they were getting from him in the first place.
Yeah, they're not doing that with Jaquan Brisker,
who is starting at safety.
They're not doing that with Kyler Gordon when he's practicing. They did do that with Jalen Johnson, however. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't.
Matt Eberflus also seemed to indicate that this isn't just a one-day thing. That this has been in place for a few practices now. Again, alarm bells. What's going on with Tevin Jenkins?
So I definitely think it's like a alarm bell that you pay attention to. Definitely noteworthy. I'm very interested to see what the offensive line combinations look like next week at veteran minicamp. Because to give people, like, OTAs is definitely a time to experiment with stuff. The last thing you want is Larry Borom to practice at left tackle the entire offseason, the entire training camp, the entire preseason, and then at the last minute decide either, you know what, Tevin Jenkins can't play right tackle or he's hurt, and you have to move Larry over right as the season's starting after he spent the entire offseason on the left side. So, and by the way, that's happened. We saw that with Cody Whitehair one year where he just switched from guard to center, vice versa last minute. And then we saw that with Kyle Long where all of a sudden, hey, it's game week. You're going to go play right tackle for the first time. So my point is now's the time where you want them to get at least some reps at different positions. But usually when you come together at mini camp, then you got the whole team together. Ideally, everyone's showing up. There's no holdouts. It's mandatory. Everybody's supposed to be there. It's a 3-day practice window that you kind of simulate a game week in some sense. You know, usually have the Wednesday, Thursday practices, and then Friday's a little bit, or you know how it is during the season, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week, it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But the last day is usually shorter, or sometimes you'll have a coach just bang it all together to earn some goodwill going into the 6-week dead period. I'm just saying, I'll be interested to see what the combination is next week, Johnsy. And then, of course, what matters more is what it looks like on a daily basis in training camp.
Because in training camp, you want that 5 together.
Yeah.
It's time to build chemistry and more.
Sorry to interrupt real quick, because Cody Whitehair also put out there yesterday, I don't know if you heard that, very subtly but directly, they've made it very clear to us that the best 5 are going to play.
Yes.
And that kind of goes more in line with what you just said. Like, so are the best 5 right now not Tevin Jenkins?
See my expression on YouTube. I feel like Tevin Jenkins is a guy who needs the pads on. Needs the physicality to go up a notch because he can't go full go, as Cole Kmet said in the run game. But something, if things were going well, and I stand by this, if things were going well for Tevin Jenkins, I don't think he would have been removed from that spot, even for a few practices and OTAs.
I agree with you, because even if it's just your goal is to get Larry Morham some reps on the right side,
do it with the twos.
Do it with the twos. Because you don't drop a guy who has earned the opportunity to stay there. You just say, hey, Larry, you haven't done anything wrong, but we want to make sure you get some reps on the right side. Tevin's playing well, though, so you're going to be with the twos this week at right
You know what
tackle.
just popped in my mind? Remember when Gabe Carimi was drafted? Your guy from Wisconsin. Where's your Wisconsin helmet? There it is.
I do. I predicted that pick correctly.
Late first-round pick. Lasted 1 season with the Bears before being traded, too?
It may have been early in his... I feel like...
Second season? Let's see.
Well, his injury was bad enough that I don't think he was healthy year 2 either. So it may have been early 3rd season when they actually traded him.
Early 3rd season.
Yeah.
Early 3rd season. Started 14 games his second year. Early 3rd season. But that 3rd season was his second year with a new regime. Just saying. Yeah. It could be a bad comparison, but you have basically a late first-round pick and Tevin Jenkins, a guy was traded up for by the previous regime, back surgery in the offseason, trying to figure out where he fits.
Well, I think that's a concern. You know, in Gabe's case, I'll defend him a little bit. If you go back to that first training camp and when he first got out there on the field, he was probably their best offensive lineman. Now, that was kind of an indictment on that entire line, but he was having a good start, and then he suffered that awful knee injury.
Yeah.
That really... we'll never know if he would have made it or not without that knee injury, but that pretty much didn't give him a chance. So the fear, I think, is how bad is his back thing? How much has it set Tevin Jenkins back? And still sort of a similar thing. Like, can you blame the back, or was he just never going to make it anyway? Also, it's probably too early to start having those conversations. It's just, I'm with you. I don't like the fact that a guy drafted that high with those expectations, who supposedly is healthy now. I don't know why he's getting dropped to the second team unless it's performance related.
My first thought was, they're giving him a break. First team is out there. They're giving him some time off because of what he went through. Then he came out there with the second team. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm with you. Concerned about Kyler Gordon, speaking of draft picks.
Yeah, never a good sign when the player is in the building but not practicing. Yeah. Usually an indication of an injury of some sort. We'll find out. Find out soon enough.
Well, yeah, I think we'll find out if he's on the field next week during minicamp. And then if he's not, you get worried. He did bounce. Like, I was worried the first rookie minicamp when he was missing time. But then he came back and he's been out there. So that's the problem with us not being in every practice. We don't know.
Yeah. Durability was not a concern in college at Washington. We'll see. Try not to get too carried away with some negativity regarding that, but you want to see players on the field.
Yeah, definitely something to watch. Okay, and then the most important thing we have to address is what the hell was that thing you found in the parking lot?
A crawfish, right?
I've eaten many crawfish in my life. There was something different about that thing. And also, I don't know about you. I've never seen a crawfish. Isn't there something called crayfish?
I have no idea. So in Hallis Hall, the remodeled Hallis Hall, there is a pond, like a overflow pond for the rainwater. Usually, like there's cranes, there's storks, there's all sorts of things in the property. It's a massive piece of property with wetlands and whatnot. And it was raining yesterday. And I'm walking out to my car, and I see this thing walking on the black pavement. I'm like, what is that? And the craziest thing is when I got close, it did like the get big, let's fight type of thing.
Ooh.
I also thought like, hey, maybe he wants me to pick him up, but I wasn't picking it up. Absolutely not.
Huh.
Check out the picture. It's on my Twitter.
Nah, don't. It's creepy.
Yeah.
So he was going to fight you.
He got big.
He got big. Get big.
Yeah.
Get
every time I approached it, it did the put its claws up. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism of the creature, but
okay. So according to Wikipedia, crayfish and crawfish are actually the same thing.
Okay, that was a crawfish,
and it's just a different. Apparently, in the north, we call them crayfish.
I would not think that crawfish would be in that pond, but what do I know? Maybe some storks brought them in.
Yeah, those birds will pick things up and move them.
Yeah. I did see a smashed frog on the pavement.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
those. I've seen those. It was not a. You never know. See, stay out of ponds.
What are those cranes called?
Oh yeah, those red beak things that are always out there. They live at House Hall.
And they're like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't know. They're big though. They're just always standing there.
There's not just bears on the property of Hallis Hall. We're learning.
I've never seen an actual bear.
No.
We saw a coyote. Remember that year we were interviewing Ryan Pace and a coyote walked by?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was just out on the practice field.
There's like woods in the background. It's a big piece of property, everybody.
Yeah. And on the other side of the train tracks, there's just a lot of woods and
open land.
It's good. There should be.
I've seen some deer, plenty of deer, but first crayfish I've ever seen walk across the parking lot at Hallis Hall.
Yeah. I don't know what that means for the 2020 season, but
2020?
2022. Yeah, what year is it?
2022.
I'm telling you, I'm losing my mind on all the Bears teams run together. Bring in a different head coach, different quarterback, different wide receivers. It's all the same.
Yeah. For our listeners, this is our, 5th head coach, 3rd GM. God knows how many offensive coordinators.
4th GM for me. I got
4th
the
GM?
end of the
Angelo.
Angelo.
I guess technically I did work with Jerry a little bit in some stories, so I'm gonna count him too.
Yeah. It's 17th running back coach.
There has been a lot of running backs coaches.
I think I used that joke already. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from OTAs?
No.
They'll wrap it up today. Today's the last OTA practice. And then, well, I guess we could spin it forward real quick before we get out of here to next week. Do you think Robert Quinn will be at House Hall?
I do.
Okay. I think so too. Either way, I think we learn a little bit more about these rumors about wanting to get traded, wanting to be a Bear. We're going to learn that next week.
Yeah. I'm sure he wants to play for a winner. They all do.
Yeah.
I just don't know where and how that works on the Bears end and trying to find him that situation where they also benefit in compensation.
By the way, speaking of Robert Quinn, that is also a reason why I told you. So all this talk about how the Bears are practicing and whether it was Cole Kmet or Cody Whitehair, or they all said the same thing yesterday. We're a young team.
Yeah.
We're trying to earn our spots.
Read about that in my takeaways. Yeah.
We have to practice with a certain intensity. They all seem to get it, even if they were all pushing the same talking point, it seemed like. If I'm Robert Quinn, I totally understand why I'm staying away from that. Like, I don't need dudes falling all over my legs because we're practicing hard.
See, that's a perfect example of having a good balance.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, Robert Quinn does not need to be exposed to certain levels of
risk,
hustle, and intensity.
Yeah. Now
he needs to be a part of it at some point.
Yeah, and
he will.
Next week's mandatory. Now, what I wonder is, are you aware of this new trend called hold in? You're not holding out. You show up, you don't get fined, but you're not necessarily practicing a whole lot.
Yeah, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Is that what Deebo Samuel's doing?
He might be doing the hold in thing. I wonder if that could be the Robert Quinn situation next week. Because he doesn't seem like the type of guy that really wants to cause a ton of disruptions. And I think the team in Robert Quinn's camp could have an understanding here too, which is like, hey, look, we're willing to listen. We're willing to do the right thing by you to get you on a winner, but we also have to do the right thing by us to make sure we're doing it at the right time. We're maximizing value. And there could be injuries in August. There could be injuries in September where, hey, just be patient. By the end of the year, you could be the 20th person on the Los Angeles Rams making
maybe
$20 million
the
a
Rams,
year.
where the salary cap seemingly does not exist.
Did you see that Charles Robinson had a great tweet yesterday? The scene from The Wolf of Wall Street where Matthew McConaughey is telling Leonardo DiCaprio about the Fugazi.
Yeah.
And he's like doing his Matthew McConaughey thing where he's like, it doesn't exist. It's in the ether. And he's like, this is at any time Les Snead goes to a salary cap meeting. Talking about Fugazi.
That's great.
Yeah.
A fake.
I loved it. All right. We should get out of here. What do you think? Good show. I was going to
talk to you all next week. 2 episodes next week, I think.
We will have 2 episodes next week for minicamp. So stay tuned for that. Let's see if I can get this.
You know what Fugazi is?
No, Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, Fugazi. It's a wazi. It's a woozy. It's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
Right. All right.
The salary cap.
You know what Fugazi is?
It's how it applies to
it's not effing real. Yeah. We'll have 2 shows next week. A big week for a mandatory minicamp. It is mandatory for us. We will be there. And then, just to warn you, we do this every year. Take some time off. We'll still have some episodes between, in the 6-week dead period. But, there'll probably be a week or 2 in there where we're off completely. Most weeks it'll probably just be 1. And that is normal. We promise when training camp is back, boom, full go. All the way to the Super Bowl.
3 a week. Yeah, Super Bowl, Super Bears.
I didn't say the Bears would be playing the Super Bowl. I just said we would keep that pace up until the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I mean, we may be covering another coaching search and GM search and all that.
Oh, don't say that.
Not too soon for that.
Much too soon. I like what they got going.
No, I do too.
Here's my final thought. I like what they got going.
Yeah.
Give it time, though.
No, we definitely got to give it time. I'm just hope there's somebody to catch the ball for Justin Fields. Could somebody get open? Did you see Dante Pettis yesterday?
No.
Me neither. Was he there?
He's number 86, right?
Or was he just covered? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know with some of these guys.
He was present.
He was present. Was he open? Someone brought that up like on Twitter, I think, asking me about. I'm like, That is a name I did not notice yesterday. That's all I can tell you. So, all right. We're out of here. Follow us on Twitter. Please subscribe. Hit the notification button if you're watching on YouTube and you know when these episodes go live. We appreciate you. Hit that like button as well if you're listening as a podcast, as the OGs, they would say, do. By the way, shout out to Sam Brief. Sam Brief does the broadcast for the Chicago Dogs and had my son James and I up to the booth on Sunday. Dogs games are fun. Yeah. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. I'm going there, I think, in July.
Okay. It's got an awesome spring training vibe, which I mean as a compliment. I love that vibe. And we had a great time out there. Had some beers. I had some beers. James did not. And then Sam had us up to the booth, and we had a good time. And Sam said he is one of the original podcast listeners of Hoge Jahns.
Oh, I love that.
So, shout out Sam. Great guy. Does great work. So also, please check out Avi's shirts for all of our merch. I got the shirt on today. And we'll be back next week. Minicamp. Talk to you then.
See ya.